wanted to give you a short encouragement from my home to yours. Today, looking at Psalm 30. Now, if you just look at the words of this psalm, it's got like this death to life kind of picture that keeps coming, and it's such an uplifting or a joyful song. He says, God, you're the one who's brought me out of the grave. Though weeping may endure for the night, joy comes in the morning. You've turned my mourning into dancing. And you've taken off my funeral clothes. You've taken off the clothes of mourning and instead clothed me with joy. I'm going to give you thanks forever. It's that kind of a psalm. And so just from those words and being able to have that going through, knowing that even the tough times, they're not going to last forever, that's a valuable part of this psalm all by itself. But now I want to give you sort of a choose your own adventure, because looking deeper into this psalm or putting it in its story context makes it even more interesting to me. So the little overline that we're given is that this is a psalm that's of David for the dedication of the house. Now, what is that referring to? And this is where various Bible translations and commentators take two different angles on it, which I think really strongly affects how you see this. One of those angles is the dedication of the house would be the house of David, or David's house. Now there's the story in 2 Samuel chapter 5 where after David has been finally made king by his people, then one of the other kings close by, he sends people to build a house, a palace for David out of cedar. And so this would be the dedication of David's palace, his house with that. And you could see where this psalm so fits in with that, right? Like David has gone from this shepherd boy out in the middle of nowhere, gone through various life-threatening situations to keep saying, God, you brought me up from the grave a few times, and now is put in a home in the capital, in the palace, and he can say, I've been made king. Like, God, you've taken me from nowhere to being right in the middle of things. You have taken me from almost being dead multiple times to being now in this great life. God, I'm going to praise you. And I would say I am firm and I'm secure like a mountain. I'm not going to be moved. And all these sorts of pictures from Psalm 30. And that one fits, and that's strong, and taking that opportunity to dedicate his home by praising God. Now the second one is for me a little harder to think that's actually what he's going for, but it could be, and that makes it really interesting, is that the dedication of the house could be the dedication of the temple, that David prescribed this and said, I want this sung when the temple is going to be dedicated. Why that's interesting is David wanted to build a temple for the Lord, but God eventually comes to him and says, David, that's great, and I do want a temple to be built, but it's not going to be you. Your son is going to build this temple. Which is, in short, a way of saying, David, you're not going to live to see it. You're not going to be alive when this happens. So David makes some preparations for it, but David never gets to see the temple built. He doesn't get to be at that dedication. And so if that's what this was written for, then David, knowing he's going to die, writes this psalm and says, y'all better sing this. Talking about how God has saved him from death, talking about how God has taken him from mourning to dancing and to joy instead. It's this interesting, strange, like having people do that, but it's maybe this sort of foresight that David would say, even when I'm gone, I want people to be able to sing. And that's an interesting part of Psalm 30 is it asks this question, God, how can those that are in the grave, how can they praise you? Is the dust going to rise up and praise you? But you've kept me alive. I've got the ability to witness and testify because you've kept me alive. And so David, in a weird way, has answered this question. How can the dust praise you? Well, when I'm dust, if I've written a song that they'll sing it, a dedication that will happen after I'm gone, people will still be praising and using my words to do it. And so, what does that mean for us? What do we do with that, living in our time frame right now? For one, if you want to choose the first option, this is just the dedication of his house. We pretty much all live in some kind of place, right? Maybe you're in an apartment, you're in a condo, you're in a home, you're in whatever. Dedicate your house to the Lord through praising God for it. Thank him for what he's done. Dedicate where you are to him. Now, if you choose the second one, seeing like the temple, then my question would be this for you, what is it that you're living for now that's going to outlive you and bring praise to God? How can you be like David then would have been in this instance, where he writes something for people to keep praising God even after he's gone? And that he can say, I will praise you, I will give you thanks forever, because the stuff that we create, others can carry that same banner and praise God. Hopefully, you're living for something that's going to outlast you to praise God.